736 here on WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. And we, as promised a little bit earlier this morning on the first shift, are joined now by our fire chief. He is Robb Cagann, of course, from the Elgins Fire Department. And we had another fire at Tent City, our homeless encampment, one of our homeless encampment. I guess it's like the main one. There may be a couple in the area, but the problems we've been having are in the Tent City at Kimball and 31 in that area, right across the river from the Gale Borden Public Library. And fire number 3 occurred on Saturday night. And so we want to talk about it a little bit, and we're joined now by Robb Cagann, Elgins Fire Chief. Good morning, Chief. How are you?
Good morning, Mark. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing okay. But I wanted to make sure we got you on again today just to maybe get an update, an overview of, I guess, the third fire in about a little over a month's time over in Tent City.
That's true. Yes, we had another one. It was very similar in size and scope to the one that we had, the very first one we had, which was probably closing in on a month and a half now, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the 4th of December.
4th of December,
Yeah.
And so it was about roughly the same size, 4 to 5 structures, roughly 1,000 square feet of actual space that was burned. Again, these fire, as the other two, they look spectacular from the street. It's an unusual situation or location where you're so close to major roadways where so many people can see it, and then you have this big orange glow in the sky, and so it looks a lot more spectacular than it is. This one, we were battling the cold weather, but not the winds that we had on the very first fire.
Yeah.
So, again, this is something that is. I'm surprised that we've had 3, but in such a short amount of time. But this is a situation that's being rectified, and I think that in the next few weeks, this is going to be a non-issue.
Right. I think the movement of some of the residents in there is within the next week, I think, supposed to start happening after the police were over there for a couple of days last week going through all the process of interviewing the different residents.
Correct.
And so
Correct.
at least 30, I think, and they all said yes, they are going to go to the Lexington Inn and Suites and give this a try. So it's in the process of being rectified, but has there been any cause of this fire determined? I know that all of these fires have been kind of like iffy as far as trying to track down the actual cause, right?
Correct. The real challenge here is when you're looking at these fires, so if you have a fire in a home, and, for example, you find, we feel something might be a little suspicious, we can call in what we call an accelerant detecting canine. So it's a dog that's trained to be able to detect the presence of gasoline, for example, or other types of accelerants. The challenge here is even if we felt that there was a need to bring such a resource in, it would not be unusual to have gasoline be identified, for example, in those immediate areas where they're using generators, they're using gas-powered equipment. There's probably gas being spilled. I mean, every time I fill my lawnmower or my snowblower, you spill a little gas. And so it becomes difficult. If you were in a regular home and then that accelerant detecting canine picked up or what they do, they call it had a hit on the smell of accelerant in your dining room, now that leads us down the path of that's weird. Why would you have accelerant in your dining room?
Right.
But in this type of environment where gasoline is being utilized, it would be a challenge to say that it was there for nefarious reasons.
Yeah.
Or that there are so many different, as I reported, when I talked in my presentation to the city council a few weeks ago, there are so many different types of makeshift equipment being used down there, makeshift heating equipment, makeshift electrical equipment. So it makes it very challenging to be able to get it identified. We can identify the origin for the most part in a lot of these fires, but actual cause it takes a tremendous amount of resources to be able to do that, and also money. Oftentimes, especially when you're dealing with electrical equipment, we would have to send that type of stuff out to electrical engineering and things like that. Oftentimes, when we have fires in homes and that type of work needs to be done, the insurance companies handle all of that. because they're looking to subrogate and get their loss back.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, there are no insurance companies involved. That would fall completely on the city, and so it makes it very challenging for us to be able to pinpoint the exact cause.
Yeah, and I know. I'm just thinking that some of the speculation, obviously, as well. First fire might have been an accident. Look at the response it got. Everybody cared. Everybody donated clothing and everything else and showed concern. And so as the third fire takes place in a little over 30 days, that's when some of the speculation starts to really arise as to, was it set? Was it set by somebody because of the fact that we went years and years without having a fire problem in Tent City, then suddenly we have three,
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I think that there's some it's not unreasonable in the conditions that we are facing with Tent City and the actions that are being taken down there to be proactive and address the problems down there at this point. It's not unreasonable to be suspicious of this activity, but there's no facts to support what the exact causes are. And I think that it's reasonable to say that it's unusual. That would be the best way for me to phrase it.
Yeah. But at this point, there's no need, or is there a need to try to pursue it any further to see if there's an arson that's taken place here, considering the fact that these residents down there are only there for a number of days from here moving forward, and then hopefully the situation will be rectified because there won't be anybody down there anymore.
Correct. And I think that it's a balance here. It's a balance between the cost to the city and the personnel resources needed to be able to carry out what we call an origin and cause investigation, and the months it will take to do that. And by the time even if we were able to identify ultimately what the cause was, and let's say it determines it's accidental, what did we gain by doing all of that? Mm-hmm. What's the end benefit? Months down the road, when in months down the road here, that's no longer going to exist. No structures are going to be there. It's going to be vacant, a piece of vacant land. Or we identify that, yes, in fact, it is believed to be incendiary or an arson, intentionally set fire. Where do we go from there? So it's kind of looking down the road at the end game and saying, what's the cost benefit analysis here? What do we really gain by putting all these resources into something that is going to be eliminated in starting to be eliminated in days, right, and in weeks will be completely gone? Yeah. And that's where we stand today.
I hear you. And then maybe this is a question for the police department and not for you, but have you heard any word if this is the third fire since it's taken place now on Saturday night? Does this even push the gas pedal faster to try to make this move happen to the hotel, or does it put any more patrol in that area to try to stop a fourth fire from happening between now and the time that those people are out of there? Because I know it's got to be a big burden on the fire department to be over there in a tough place trying to put out those fires.
Well, from a fire department standpoint, it is a challenging location. It's what I said in past interviews with you. Coming from 31, which is the most logical location for us to park our vehicles, there are changes in grade, significant changes in grade that we have to deal with. And the night of the last fire here on Saturday, as we were stretching the lines down to the fire, we encountered a freight train. So we were delayed by 3 or 4 minutes in getting that line across, and then we were able to get the track shut down. So it is a challenging environment for us. Yeah. However, and I can't talk on behalf of the police department in any way, shape, or form, but I can tell you that I understand the logistics. I've been in a number of meetings about this over the last few weeks. The logistics that are involved in making this happen are what I think precludes us from being able to move faster and faster. Well, I think if you take a step back and you look at what's happened since that first fire, we really have been moving at lightning speed. This is a tremendous machine that's being moved, and we're developing it as we go. And I think that being that we're only 8 or 7 days, whatever it is, away from being able to do it, again, cost benefit here is, we're on pace to get this done in a very short amount of time. And I'd be surprised if we can move much faster than what's happening today.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, thank you, Chief. Thanks for taking the time to join me this morning and to, I guess, give us a latest update on what's becoming a frustrating set of fires that are hard to battle. And they've happened in succession during the holiday season and in the coldest time of the year. So I appreciate your time and the work of your firefighters.
You're very welcome.
All right, take care.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. All right, Chief Robb Cagann, Elgin Fire Department, always responds, as firefighters do, right? Always responds when I reach out to him to be on the show to give us updates as well. So it's 7:47 here at WRMN AM 1410 and WRMN Radio on YouTube. So Fire Chief's on.